Call this meeting to order of the Hawarden City Council. This is our regular City Council meeting on Wednesday, January 22nd. We need to approve the minutes from January 8th, 2025. Could I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
And a second?
Second. Go ahead. Second. Is Christy on the phone?
Oh, we were going to call her, yes. No, she's not. Thank you.
Okay. Is this the number?
Is it?
No.
Oh, okay, I don't know.
You got to call her.
I don't know what number that is.
Okay, it's 712-551-7571.
Thank you very much.
Hello.
Hey, Chrissy, this is Rob. We're just doing the city council meeting.
Perfect. Thanks.
All right.
Hi, Christy. We are on 1A, approval of the January 8, 2025 regular council meeting minutes. We've got a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving those minutes, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Passes 4-0. 1B, approval of the January 22nd, 2025 claims for payment. May I have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion to approve the claims for payment.
And a second?
I'll second.
I'll second.
Or Christy can too.
Okay, Christy, we'll give it to you.
Okay.
All those in favor of approving the claims for payment, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. At this time, we have open business from the community. Do we have anyone who would like to speak tonight? Okay.
First off, is there a reason our flag isn't half-staff? We had 30 days after Carter's death.
It should be. I didn't.
Yeah, and then it went up, I think, because of Trump's inauguration, so it's still at full
Is
mast,
it
rather.
cool? I'll take care of that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thanks, John.
And are we supposed to have a public meeting for the ordinance changes, or no? A public hearing? When we do ordinance changes? No? Okay. Same thing for when we change
Isn't there
trash rates? No?
There's three
readings.
three readings. That gives the public plenty of time to come and
But
speak.
you don't have to have a specific public reading for it, or public meeting for it? Okay,
It'll be
great.
published after it's approved on the
Right,
third
I
reading.
gotcha. Okay, that's all I got.
Okay.
I hope all of you have taken the time to read the ordinance for the dog stuff. So, anything you want changed?
Okay, thank you. There is no mayor's report tonight. 2B, staff reports. Gary.
I have nothing.
Travis.
Nothing tonight.
Chief.
The only thing to report is we've been doing some planning as far as nuisance abatement work within the city. And then we started today to identify some properties so we can start those conversations.
Very good, thank you. Carol.
Just working with the University of Northern Iowa, we're continuing our efforts to secure funding for kind of like gap financing, or for just, for recovery purposes. We're working on a proposal to secure additional recovery funding to be used in the states, and are looking for a list of businesses, community, and/or individuals who may need financial assistance or gap financial assistance in rebuilding. Would like to have a list if we could print it out. So if you are a business or someone that needs assistance yet to this day, I would encourage anyone from our community to reach out to me. We do have, I believe, $100 million. Wasn't sure how much the gal said here. Travis had brought up that number to me, but I do know it's a significant amount of money. It does apply to the communities as well, so I'm pretty sure if we remain aggressive, we'll keep Hawarden on the list for assistance. We'll stay in their face, basically, to make sure that we get perhaps our 15% covered, not to put that burden on the citizens. So we'll stay after the legislature. That's been a big push, so we'll just keep going.
Yeah, okay, good. Thank you, Carol. Jenny, anything at this time?
No, thank you.
Okay. Council comments. Open it up to any council member at this time.
I would just like to reference the long-term recovery group for Sioux and Lyon County that was formed after the flood disaster. And there's World Renew organization, of course, was in Hawarden the past 2 weeks. There's also been others from that organization working in Hawarden. They've contacted 15 houses and helped finish 12 of what their needs were. There's also, between January and June, there's groups every month coming to volunteer to help. So the people that are at home and still need help, whether it's just moving a refrigerator or hauling stuff out of your basement, make sure you reach out. Now's a really important time between January and June. There's going to be all kinds of volunteer help. And we're also raising money to help with materials. So that's...
Thank you for that.
I do. I would like to bring up for reconsideration something that was on the agenda on November 8th, 2023, just for rediscussion to bring it back up of ordinance 750 and 751 for the next council meeting. Since we have an incoming city administrator when he comes back, these are two that I would like to re-engage.
Okay, thank you. We will move on to other agenda items. This is the third reading of Ordinance 754, which is an ordinance amending Chapter 55 of the Hawarden City Code. It's Animal Protection and Control. This is the third and final reading of the ordinance, and if approved, will be published, and at that time will go into effect. The staff does recommend approval of this. Discussion?
I think the only thing I would point out, obviously Christie had spent significant time on this. It has been, it's just going to make things more consistent, and the changes that have been made are going to allow the police or their designated officer to make some decisions, and then it will come back before the council. So these changes have really just made things more consistent and hopefully easier to enforce. As the last, prior to this, they seem to somewhat contradict one another, so now they'll be a little bit more consistent. The change has been made in both of them that upon either a dangerous or vicious animal, that the dog will be, the police chief can then take the dog to the vet if need be, so that it's not out and about. I think one of the bigger concerns that was brought up was we wouldn't know what happened to the animal, and it could either leave the city limits or whatnot, so that concern is addressed by these changes.
Thank you.
I make a motion to approve the third reading of ordinance 754.
And a second?
Second.
I'll second.
Okay, give that one to Rob. We'll do a roll call vote on this. Anderson.
Aye.
Clucky.
Aye.
Allen.
Aye.
Warner.
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Thank you. Item 4, third reading of ordinance 755, an ordinance amending Chapter 56 of the Hawarden City Code, Dangerous and Vicious Animals. This also is the third and final reading, and if approved, will be published, and at that time will go into effect. Staff does recommend approval of this. Any discussion?
Christie?
I have no comment. I mean, Jenny pretty much said everything with the previous one. So if there's no other comments, I would just motion to pass the third reading of ordinance 755.
Okay. You've got a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll do a roll call vote here, too. Clucky,
Aye.
Allen,
Aye.
Warner,
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Thank you. Item 5 is the second reading of ordinance 756, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Hawarden, Iowa, by amending the definition of a residential premises, waste storage containers, and solid waste collection rates of the Solid Waste Control Ordinance. This is the second reading. There was some discussion about waiving the third reading and approving the ordinance, given the fact that the increase goes into effect on February 1st. The staff recommends approval and waiving the third reading, and that would save the city approximately $1,000 of revenue that would be missed for the month of February. Discussion on that.
This is it's part of our agreement with OC Sanitation that it would increase $1 this year and then remain constant for the next year, and then the contract would be up and we'd have to renew. So this is just a pass-through from OC Sanitation to the residential customer. Normally, we don't ask for the waiving of a third reading, but this was brought and talked about in December. So it's been a full 2 months that it's been out there. So it ultimately up to council.
Questions or discussion? Or a motion?
I'll make that motion.
And a second.
I'll second.
We'll do roll call. Allen,
Aye.
Warner,
Aye.
Harvey is not here. Anderson,
Aye.
Clucky.
Aye.
That passes 4-0. Thank you. Number 6, the FEMA housing buyout participation and agreement to move forward with the application process. Travis?
I sent out with this one a map of the locations of the addresses from the previous meeting. Same number, there's 10. Obviously, that number could go down, once we get the appraisals. 7 of them in the Frog Pond area, and then there'll be 3 kind of in the middle. The one with the circle, that's the Swift Current. That's the one we got through in December right away. The 2 above by the park there would be good consideration for parking. The school's always looking for extra parking spots for teachers. When there's a Labor Day celebration, there's always extra parking along the street, and that would add a little extra there. The one north is just north of the new pickleball site, so that would add more space in the park area as well. So one caveat to the FEMA buyout, I did have a discussion with the 2 lead people at the state, and they did say that the federal government has released $100 million to the state through the housing and urban development. So that money is at the state. It's up to legislation to decide if that money is going to go towards part of the 15%. They're pretty confident that they will, and that'll be a grant process as well. So we would go through this process and then ask for that reimbursement if it's there. So feel better about that portion of it. But I guess you have to make the decision thinking you're going to have to pay for it all. But if we do get that reimbursement, we're just that much further ahead.
So you've identified 10 properties how many applications did we have?
We haven't started the application process until approval tonight, then I will get to work on, we'll have to hire an appraiser and start that process.
So on, like, these 10 properties on the yellow chart had for us,
Yep,
these are just you probably have the assessed valuation, I guess.
yep. And then we just added the 15%, between 10 and 15. When we did the assessment for the Swift Current, it was right at 12%. So we feel it's a pretty close number. And then I did put in some possible deductions, just 20,000 per house, based on what FEMA or the insurance paid out. And it kind of gives you kind of some estimate numbers there.
So
Everything there is an estimate. But-
Sure, it's
But
gonna
pretty
be-
close.
Where's your 15%? Is that 100?
That's the 142, the red number,
On that one?
Yep.
Okay.
or the
I didn't know on the-
178 if there were no deductions.
Okay. Okay, again, can we use local option sales tax one time to help fund this?
Yes, I don't,
I think that
think
would be,
there's-
it's a community, definitely assisting the community. I guess that's kind of what I was thinking I was thinking about the local option sales
Mhm.
tax after we kind of talked about it, didn't realize there was that much in there. And that's a possibility is all. But
Yep.
I guess I would like to open it up to those people.
You need a motion tonight, just move forward.
I think just, voice vote
Okay.
for approval, and then I'll start the process. At any time, we can
Stop.
change our minds and stop
Sure,
it.
sure.
Once we get full numbers or something happens where we're just financially unsure, then
Yeah.
we can always, and same with the homeowners. When they get their assessment and they feel it's not large enough, they can back out as well.
Yeah. I guess I'm interested in taking the applications and moving forward with it.
Is that a motion?
Did you want a motion or did you just want a voice vote?
Well, we'll have a motion first.
You'll
and
have a
we'll do
motion?
voice
Okay.
vote. Yep,
Yeah, it was.
okay, yep.
I'll
Thank
second
you.
it.
Well, the way it was written on 6, I wasn't sure if you were approving something or not.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the FEMA housing buyout participation and moving forward with that, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Passes 4-0. Thank you. Number 7, no parking on the north and east side of the hospital due to congestion.
I got a email from Jason at the hospital saying that the ambulance had trouble a few times getting into there, either off of L. Their entrance is on the north side for their emergency, and then sometimes when they come off, they're on the east side of town, they will use Avenue M. So he just suggested on the hospital property, if they did no parking, pretty much where the red is, that would alleviate that congestion and,
Yeah, it's tough to get an ambulance in and out of there, especially during the day.
yeah. And I told him I want to leave the other side open because, those are residents and they should be able
Yeah.
to park there. But, one car there, people can get through quite easily. You get one on each side and it's
No, I know.
real tough. So
That kind of makes sense.
I absolutely agree, and if you guys agree, we'll start the ordinance. And I did include other no parking areas that are in our current ordinance, so all we would do is add a description of those two streets and bring the ordinance.
And put signs up.
And, well,
Yeah,
we'll do
okay.
signs after the,
No, I
Passing of the
I can
ordinance.
see their point. Makes sense.
yep.
Further discussion? Can we have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor of approving no parking on the north and east side of the hospital due to congestion, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Passes 4-0. Thank you. Number 8 is the approval of payment for the 5% retainer to Simmons Energy for circuit breakers in the substation project. This would, the 5% retainer is for $7,088.64.
The breakers they're here, they're installed. We're just asking for that 5% that we held back during construction. So DGR and the city recommends paying.
I make a motion to approve payment of the 5% retainer to Siemens Energy.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the payment for the 5% retainer, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Passes 4-0. Thank you. Moving on to item 9. This is the approval of payment of the 5% retainer to Niagara Power transformer in the substation project for the amount of $77,004.80.
This is the same thing. Transformers were installed. We were waiting on arresters to be installed and tested. That was just 2 weeks ago. So everything's done, and we recommend paying the retainage on the 2 transformers for a cost of $77,004.80.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor of approving the 5% retainer to Niagara Power transformer, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. Thank you. Number 10 is budget discussion, review of the fiscal year 28 enterprise fund budget proposals and presentation of the fiscal year 26 general fund budget.
We'll start with the water utility. Last year, we had a 3% rate increase to the usage. This year, I propose a 3% increase to the base. That's the automatic minimal amount. And 3% is 37 cents on the base. It's $12.20 right now, so it'd go to $12.57. That's pretty much all residential, 1 inch and lower, smaller water meter. It comes to $4.44 a year. And then if you have a larger than a 1 inch water meter, it's $25 minimum, so that'd go to $25.75, which would be a $9 a year increase. And you'll see on the budget, the total increase that we would receive by doing this would be $5,102. I think that small increases yearly or as needed are better than waiting 10 years and throwing these big increases.
Agree.
Water budget, we rehab it well every year. There's a lot of maintenance that goes into the water department. Everything's getting more expensive, like every department. So I put it in the budget. If there's a good discussion on it, this spring we'll bring that ordinance, and you have to pass the ordinance, but at least it's budgeted that way, and you can make the decision in the spring if we want to do that 3% increase or not.
Okay.
You'll notice capital outlay projects, we just have one well rehab this year. On all the utilities, we're really focusing on recovering from the flood, the different damages, getting those things paid for. So we've cut back capital outlay projects to just things that need to be done, and we got to keep up with that one well per year to stay on the schedule. Other than that, there really no changes. Travel and training, those are for Logan and Jaden for CEUs and Al. Then Logan and Jaden are trying to get their grade 2 for Logan and grade 1 for Jaden. So, any questions on water? I'll move to wastewater. The wages for both water and wastewater they're budgeted that Jaden will get his grade 1 and Logan will get his grade 2. If they don't, the wages will be slightly smaller, but I like to budget the higher amount based on them passing their classes and getting those grades, because there will be a increase to their salary if they hit those different levels, so. You'll see the E1, we try to get 2 E1s every year. Those are the individual sewers that are in next to homes that can't use the gravity feed. They'll take out an old one, rebuild it, and then put a new one in, and keep the rebuilt as a backup in case some of those fail. So that's something you really got to have on hand and keep up with maintenance as well. So we have 2 of those in there. The disc air diffusers are in the base of the sludge, the water treatment plant. Cleaning sewers, that's something we do a third of town every year. We want to maintain that. That has helped tremendously on our sewer backups in homes and just makes our system that much better.
Do you think, like, after the flood in any areas, that, are you concerned that, I don't know what area you're cleaning, but I'm just thinking, like, more west of town, and is there
We
more
actually
cleaning?
saw more, it actually cleaned them out, is what it did. It
Oh.
cleaned them out, and we ended up
Yeah, that's true.
with a lot at the sewer plant, so
Okay.
I think we're in good shape. We still need to keep up with the maintenance, but I wouldn't target a different town than we have been. Yeah, it was
That
surprising
forest would-
how much sand and stuff made it all the way down to the wastewater treatment plant,
Okay,
so.
I was just wondering.
Yeah, because that was my first concern after the flood,
Yeah.
is, hey, are we going to have to come in and do these
Yeah.
sooner? And Al said, no, it's all down at the plant. So, and the UV maintenance, that's, those need to be done every year. They run pretty much 8 months out of the year, and then they turn them off and do maintenance and change the bulbs and replace parts that need. So those are the main things we have to keep up with, so I kept them in there. But once again, we're trying to just do what we have to this year. Any questions on?
No, I don't have any on that.
We'll move on to the electric. The electric, we have the 7% rate increase included in the budget. But the caveat to that is we're working with MRAS every year. We'll give them our budget and our numbers, and they'll put them against the rate study they did to make sure that, yeah, 7% is still needed. If they come back and say, no, really, you only need 6, if you want to back that off, we can. And we'll do that for the next 2 years. Just look at it every year and see, because we've already passed those 7%. We had to do that for our loan, to keep our 10% for repayments. You'll see Coalcraft transformer. Coalcraft's doing an addition. They'll need new transformer. There'll be some capital outlay for new townhomes.
Where's that at?
16th and L. The same guys that are building Skelling.
Just putting in the townhomes.
Oh, I know where you're at, all right.
Yep, and then hopefully there's a possibility of more coming, but without a definite there, I didn't budget
Yeah.
that'll just come out of supplies. You'll see the WAPA increase on their wholesale power and the MRAS increase. That was another reason for the big increase in electric for the next few years, was not just our debt, but our wholesale that we buy the electric rates are going up.
Yeah,
So,
there.
no other real changes, other than those things. And at any time, even next month or during the month, if you have a question specific to one of the funds, feel free to email me, reach out. We'll move on to gas. You'll see the estimated revenue is down. Wholesale prices have actually decreased. They were pretty high, 23. They started to come down in 24, 25. The budget was estimated a little high for what they're actually. And then the hardest thing with gas is it's really weather dependent. I mean, you either sell it in the winter or, last year we had a really mild winter, so, we didn't sell much gas. So, but you'll see that when you have less revenue, you actually have less expenditure because the purchase gas is minimal too, so kind of a wash on those. There was a little bit of increase due to operator qualification. The federally and in the state, you have to be operator qualified on every skill for natural gas, and then those have to be updated. Some are every year, some are every 3 years, and we use IAMU to help that operator qualification. We can log in, take tests. 2 of their employees come and do the hands-on testing for us. Without that,
That's huge.
yeah, it'd be a nightmare. So a little bit of increase there, but that's and then training was high a few years while those guys were getting qualified, and there'll be less training as it become more proficient. So that has decreased some. In their capital outlay, we had a methane leak detector in this year's budget, and with the flood, we decided to hold off on that purchase, but I did put it in this one and plan to kind of wait and see how the budget goes, how the summer goes, and maybe that's something we can get next year. Great. Basically, it's a laser gas detector, and we can use it for our walk around. Every 5 years, you have to do the whole town, so it's broke out into sections. Historically, we've paid IMU to come with theirs and drive around. They do the whole town. Well, that's like $5,000 to have them come in and do it. So if we break down and get this purchased, we can do not only on every check they go to, but they can do their own maintenance as they do their corrosion inspection and everything that else that needs to be done. We do not have one of these now.
I would try to get it.
Yeah.
Is there a calibration cost that goes along with it? That'll go like in supplies or something?
I would assume there is, just like our other detectors. But I don't know that for a fact. I'm sure there is. Sioux Center, Rock Rapids already have them. We've actually borrowed it on a few times, so it is really nice. We're going to try and get it in there.
Yeah, I would try to get it. I mean, it's not like it's 50,000, it's 10.
Yep. And then I did budget 10,000 for the townhomes and then the coilcraft services. And there's always new things coming in and work to be done, so there's try and budget for some of that that's coming. And then the work truck, that's been in there for, this will be the 3rd year. We just can't seem to, ever since COVID, you can't keep up on the state funded vehicles, state bids. They just don't have the vehicles in stock. And then I did come across a vehicle that already had the work box and everything, and tried to reach out to council, but I guess I would like approval at this time that if a vehicle becomes available, that we just go ahead and purchase it. That money's there in the ISF fund. It's ready to go. I just, with the flood.
Is that
with
the budget you
things-
want, is 50 grand? To buy one?
It'll be real close to that, yeah.
Okay.
And
If
if
you
it's,
see it, yeah, I agree. to keep it
anything
in.
changes,
Yes.
I would,
Trying to buy something off of state bid right now, you find you got snatched up, so,
right.
yeah, I'd say go ahead.
Is that okay, Patty and
Yep.
Rob and Christie?
I'm in agreement with that, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Solid waste.
That was in the budget last year, wasn't it? You had
Yeah,
that truck.
the truck, yeah. So it could be even this year if I find something between now and then. I just keep putting it in there till we find one. Solid waste, we've been running that deficit, because every year we think this is the year we're gonna be done with our testing and we won't have to, pay the engineer to do our annual testing, our methane testing. But the 2 years that were dry, previous to last year, we were coming up with no samples. And they need a 8 to 10 year, 20 year, of good samples to do their analysis and say that you have no leaching from your old landfill. So we've been extending our permit by 1 year, basically ongoing until we get enough samples that we can prove to the state that our landfill is secure, it's not leaching, and then we could do the final post-closure. And when that's done, there'll be no other testing. We just have to maintain the cap, so just a walk-around inspection and just maintain that property. That's close to 18,000 per year that go to Parker Lamar. Well, actually, it's SCCS now. They keep changing and being bought out, but so I guess I'm just in favor of just keep running that one in a slight deficit instead of raising rates when we know. I mean,
It's
we
not
hope
that-
that it's just one more year.
It's not that significant of a difference.
Yep. Now we'll get into the telecom. The salaries are 50% of the administrator and then our telecom admin. And then there was an increase because we've added single insurance to the administrator, or 50% of the administrator's insurance this year. The annual software seems to increase every year. You'll see the contractual services. There was a large one in '23, but that was when we purchased the new Mac software. So that's been tracking more at the 1,500 level, so that's why I decreased that.
So is the administrator's salary, it isn't allocated from all the utilities?
It's 50% in the general fund, which goes to all utilities, and 50% in telecom.
Not like electric, gas?
Oh, the 50% in the general fund is spread out in the other utilities,
Okay, interesting.
and 50% of it is strictly telecom.
Okay.
It was that way since I've been here.
So there's not like a 10% water, or,
There is on the 50%
on
side.
that 50% side?
Yep, but otherwise telecom is the other 50. So it might be something to,
It just
think
seems
about
like
and look
it's
at.
high for just the telecom.
yeah.
Or maybe, or like
For
elect,
telecom to get hit
Yeah.
at 50%.
And maybe originally it was closer to that 50%, but it's
I've
probably.
seen them like allocated in 5 different areas maybe, or like, it's surprising that like in electric, it might not be 50, or gas when, they're,
Yeah, when you see the general fund, you'll see that breakout where I think electric and gas is 33%, water 16%, and then telecom's 16%, and different percentages
look
that
at
way.
that.
So, yeah, give that some thought. Now's the time to,
It just seems like high for just one utility, I guess, or one.
yep. So that's where you'll see that breakout in cable for the telecom admin. There's a breakout line for half of the telecom admin. It's, yeah,
Down here?
under cable. Yep,
Okay.
it is down. a ways.
Under,
Yep, down some more. Next page, right there. Yeah, so that works out to 100,000, right in the middle. It's under legislative, administrative, general, and then you've got the telecom admin. One thing to note with cable, I would like to present the deficit we are in cable, you know, for what we pay for each channel and what we're charging. Worst case scenario, that'll be Jacob's priority as soon as he comes back. But it's definitely something we need to address. You can see there's probably a $55,000 annual deficit between what our income and our expenditure on the cable TV. Cable still makes substantial revenue, but that's mostly due to the internet. And then telephone is, the revenues are just slowly, yeah, in most line items. And the expense seems to stay there or grow. One good thing is 2026 will be this budget year we're talking about, will be the last full payment to electric.
On their debt.
On their debt. And then 2027, there's 56,000 left.
was that original debt payment somewhere around 148,000? Something like that?
I think
year?
it was, yes,
More?
143,354.
Okay, right around there. Okay, that's what I thought. So
Yep.
that gets paid off next year, you pay half.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. So that's one good thing.
Oops. And like the general fund, those are for us to review.
Yep, when we get to
Sorry.
general fund, you just review that for the next 2 weeks, and then we'll have discussion on those. So, take a look at the utilities. If you have any questions before next time, feel free to reach out.
I did go through them all,
Yep.
kind of line item, and I didn't see anything significant other than, I just don't think 50% should come out of the telecom, and maybe an even, gas, electric, telecom, each 33 or whatever.
Well, and if 25% is what you feel is more, or
It- I
whatever
mean-
number, 30%, we
It's
can
high
absolutely,
for just the one.
yeah.
From when I dealt with.
Yeah.
I would like to see it allocated a little differently. Other than that, I I don't see anything in these.
Okay, and maybe I'll run the numbers on 25%?
That'd be a quarter each.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
Well, we
good.
do
Yeah.
25% in the
25.
telecom, and then 75% would be general fund, but then the general fund is split out between all the utilities.
Utilities and stuff. That's
and-
kind of what I'm used to seeing, you know.
And
some
then I
have
can
10, some
even
have-
do, whatever number. I can start with 25.
Yeah,
and-
do that.
That's going to save on the expenditure against telecom anyway, since it's.
Yeah,
Especially
we'll
like
run the
telephone.
numbers.
That's like
Well,
50% is high though for
Yeah,
one.
for one department to pay out.
You know.
And then,
And like I said, maybe originally it was close to that based on their workload, but I don't,
I don't
I don't know.
see, yeah. I
we got
mean,
3 employees there too.
And we have electric, gas, and,
We got two in the telecom and 1 in the
yeah,
administration.
there's Mario and,
yep,
And the front office is all coming out of there.
it's just
Right.
high.
yeah, I think we have Ron in the telephone, Mario in the cable, and then Leslie and the administrator are in the admin portion. So there'll still be an admin portion.
Mhm.
It'll just be
Right.
less percentage of the city administrator
Okay.
and his benefits, because the benefits are part
Yeah,
of it.
that all,
Yep. Okay, I'll run those numbers and
Okay.
get them to you next month.
thank you.
Okay, anything else
Nope.
with the budget? We do have a consent agenda request from Dollar General for renewal of their Class B retail alcohol license. And have a motion to approve,
So moved.
Second.
and a second by Patty. All those in favor of approving the request, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. At this time, I would like to thank Gary. I think this is your last council meeting here, probably.
Oh,
yeah.
wait, it is.
I mean, you can come back and visit us whenever you want to, but
He's like, no.
But we really appreciate the time you spent with us and all that you have done to get us through some tough times.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, and, yeah, we really appreciate your giving up some of your retirement
Yes.
to do this.
Can't thank you enough. You were faced with some difficult tasks, and I just appreciate so much how you helped get us through those.
It was okay, much more than I planned.
Yeah, that's usually what. Can't believe it's your last one. I didn't think about
Yeah,
it, but
I did when I walked in.
January is about over, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'll take a motion for adjournment
I make a motion to adjourn.
in a second.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay. And all those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. Thanks for joining us on the telephone.
Thanks, Christie.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Is that what Dollar
Yep.
General?
Yeah,
Dogan,
I suppose that's what,
We
like,
are adjourned.
DOL Corp or whatever?
Pardon me?
Dollar General Corporation. But they didn't spell it all out, DOL and then Gen.